What if you were told that the power to create all the change happening around you has always been central to you? We often fear adversity and negative outcomes without understanding the reality of where they stem from. It's nothing but the power of the universal mind. We're not entirely at the mercy of a God who controls the events of all that goes around in this world. In fact, it is through us that this great power operates every day. What we speak, think, and believe is what manifests the reality around us. Acknowledging the limitless potential of this reservoir is man's greatest challenge. Yes, we are divine being. Unfortunately, very few people realize the true meaning of the expression that we are masters of our fate. The fact that human beings are capable of intelligent thought is the reason why we can manipulate our imagination, question, and reason everything that we ever learned and chart our own course. The concept of the dual mind has destroyed man's understanding of himself and everything around him. The mind is one universal unit, and all of us are centers of intelligence who think things into action. This is the law of life, and the mind is always reflecting whatever thought is put into it. As soon as we hand over this control to an external entity, we end up creating a division. This is because the mind is one indivisible whole, and contradicting this reality is to oppose the very law. The problem is that we think of the mind with only limitations, as per our restricted thoughts and physical environment. However, the mind is all-knowing and all-seeing, which does not seek to dissect or analyze but only knows what is given to it. Our thoughts and force through this one, or whatever name we choose to give it, is what produces all our affairs. The belief that an external force predestines everything is nothing but our subconscious powering the mind into action. In saying that, it is done unto us as we believe, we are not putting ourselves at the mercy of anything outside of us other than our belief. The birth of all our sorrows and joys, the tiniest speck to the mammoth-sized mountains, is nothing but the creation of our own mind. When we believe something to be, the mind has no option but to listen, as it does not see itself as a power separate from us. Whether we see this universal infinite power as the mind, God, or any other force, it is but one. Since it is one unit, we cannot be separate from it, as it has to operate through us. In saying so, man must understand that he has to share the divinity of whatever has created him and everything else. Then why do we see abundance in nature around us and in the power that creates everything, yet see ourselves as limited? Unless we recognize this great power and abundance within us first, we will continue to manifest from a place of scarcity. Once we understand that we are the center of all this divine activity, we realize that freedom of good vibes has always been a choice for us to make. When we believe that our only limit is our mind, we are implying that the mind is acted upon by nothing else but our thoughts. This means that our thoughts become the law of our lives. The power of this thought to manifest anything and everything into reality is as strong as God's plan of creation in the grander scheme of life. This mind sees no labels of good or evil, or positive or negative, it just creates what becomes known to it. This is the universal law of manifestation, unknown to most people. The nature of this law demands not that we create, but with positive thinking, things will come into existence. The great power or divine source that we believe in is always at hand, waiting to be recognized and utilized by us. As we send forth our thought into existence, what we believe is done unto us. The person who is ignorant of this law will forever be bound by self-imposed restrictions of an otherwise limitlessly creative mind. The power to destroy all negative thoughts that we wish to unmanifest and hold on to that which we would want to see has always been at our disposal. Everything within this world is nothing but our own projected consciousness. Our refusal to see that we are already everything that we wish to be is our greatest mistake. The ability to assume a reality and believe in its existence is a force that is so powerful that it cannot be stopped from becoming a fact. All we need to do is know and believe in what we want and then give it to ourselves. Every single aspect of the reality we live in stems from the beliefs we hold. Our outer world is a reflection of whether we believe in a reality that is abundant and whole or scarce and limited. Our ideas of success, money, death, disease, etc. all form the beliefs that dictate our lives. Recognizing that our consciousness is the only reality means that we understand the power to change our beliefs, and therefore everything around us has always been a choice. With this changed conception of ourselves, we automatically change the world in which we live. No outside force can ever interfere or contradict this law, because that would mean that the divine power that is operating through us all is not a whole unit. Demolishing every thought and belief we have held that takes us away from this truth will set us free. We are one with a healthy mind, which means that we are one with God. As soon as we recognize this truth, it becomes functional in our lives. There is no external power at play but our own word, which is the very way of life. We have already been bestowed with all the power to experience everything we wish for with the word we think, hear, and speak. Reality then is not something that is manipulated by an outside force but is only a matter of the universe and the mind in mental correspondence. If one was to understand this truth, one would stop seeing life as a cause for fear and suffering. The religions and philosophies of the world condition us to see life from a distorted, one-dimensional perspective. However, life is nothing but the manifestation of the same divinity that created it. If we learn to trust it and see it as exactly that, the illusion that there is anything resting outside of our control will be destroyed immediately. The power of your mind is not just limited to your personal growth or few minutes of meditation you practice in a day. Life itself is a meditation in progress, and everything we think and speak is what sets it into motion. Recognizing this divinity in everything and seeing it as one homogeneous whole is the greatest power that can ever be known. Man cannot ever become known to his divine nature and power unless he unlocks the mind's full potential. Failing to do so will mean that we will continue to live from a rather limited perspective of an otherwise infinitely creative mind. The ability to dominate all external conditions, live above one's surroundings, and keep calm amidst all chaos rests nowhere else but in man's own thought. Such a person then automatically becomes the magnet for all good that must gravitate towards it, as he has found power not in his outer world but within himself. The person who learns this truth reflects the beam of divinity in an otherwise mortal body. The universe has no option then but to see such an individual as a master and do unto him as he believes.